Thanks for joining us. This month you did it's 26 days. In October, you get $43,000 in submitted business. You're a new life insurance agent. Dude, where are you at now? Let me ask you this. The goal today is to help share with agents who were life insurance agents or looking to be successful. Talk to me a little about like where you started, why you got your license, and ultimately we'll dive into your success. So, why did you become a life insurance agent? I'm curious.
I was in the midst of 10 years in the culinary field, and when you get married, you kind of have to put the wife first. And I never really got to see my family too much, working those long 14, 13-hour days. And those were typically at night, right? Going at 12.
Mhm.
So I was looking for a job that would allow me to see my family more, but would also be able to provide and put food on the table. Ultimately, right? I mean, as
Yeah.
men, we want to provide. And I came across life insurance. I see that it's pretty quick to get your license. Um, and I was like, you know what? I see that people are successful at this. Why don't I go ahead and give it a try? And
Mhm.
so that's how I got into the life insurance industry.
Yeah, and then what, you don't have to say where, but like when you gave it a try, how did it go your first time?
It didn't go very well.
Sure.
It was more based around, oh, nice, you're joining the team, great. And then a week later, it's like, all right, do you have anybody else you can join? So
Mhm.
more in recruiting than it was building upon your skills as a sales, at doing
Yeah.
sales. And so it didn't go very well for me. Um,
How did you, what things did you wish you knew, especially if you're a new agent that's listening right now? What do you think a new agent needs to know before joining like a company? Knowing that you've tried it out and then you've had great success with us, like what are some questions you wish you'd asked in the beginning that would have helped you had a better decision from joining a bad company?
I wish I would have asked more about their training process, how
Sure.
they train agents, what they train on, how they're going to help me build myself up as a professional in this industry.
Mhm.
I was just so excited. I had just got my license. I was ready to jump in and ready to give whatever I could a try, and kind of just ignored those red flags that are in your way. Um,
Mhm.
and so I didn't ask the proper questions. What I would make sure that the new agents know is that no matter where you go, this industry isn't easy.
Mhm.
Whether you're with an agency that does train you well, or with an agency that doesn't. Of course, the latter, you're going to find yourself in a little more difficult waters. Um,
Yeah.
but this job takes a lot of time. It takes um, a lot of emotion from you. You're speaking to clients who just lost their family member or going through financial troubles, and so that can just it's an emotional game.
For
It's
sure.
not physically wearing, but be prepared to put in the work, I would say.
When was the moment at your one company where like this is not sustainable, it's not making sense, like I can't keep doing this, like because a lot of people get caught in that trap and they think it's like it's them, but it really is just like the opportunity vehicle and the leadership. What was that moment where like, dude, I don't even know if this is right for me. Do you remember that?
I think when you're thousands of dollars in chargebacks, and you're excited about, oh man, I just made the sale, and X amount, of
Mhm.
this ALP is coming into the bank, and then you get drafted back from a sale that was 2 months ago, and it was in that 3 month window that, if they lapse, you have to pay the money back. So it was a game of just forever catching up, and I was never ever getting ahead. And so at
Mhm.
some point, I felt like not only was I not properly prepared, um, by my management and my upper line by training me how to deal with this, but there was no way for me to get out of the waters that I was in, and so
Yeah.
I looked elsewhere.
Yeah, and when you were working, like, did you make some sales at the previous company? Were you doing
I
okay?
did.
Like, what was your best month, you think?
On my best month, maybe 5,000,
5,000 in a
maybe.
month. You did.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
probably did. How much did you do this month? Do you know? Like this week, sorry, this week in itself.
This week I think I'm right at 10,000.
10,000. So you did what you did in a whole week, you doubled that. So you were able to compress your time frames. Now,
Yeah.
what are some things that you learned that you never knew before that allowed you to become like even like a good agent? Like what do you think one was the most important things that you learned, whether it's your sales process, if it's leads, what even allowed you? Like again, you did what you couldn't do in a whole month. It would have took you 2 months to do what you did in a week. why do you think that's possible? Like, what are some things that you learned that you wish you knew?
Um, well, first and foremost, what I've learned is that a well put together management team is very important.
Mm,
Individuals who aren't just worried about hiring individuals so that they can hurry up and make a policy so that they get a percentage of it. It's
mm,
more like we want to see you win. And in your process of winning, of course, we're going to win too, but really the spotlight is on you. We want to see you do X amount of policies, X amount of ALP. We want to see you successful. And I think that to shine some light on you and your company, I mean, I feel like you put that first. You put the people first, the people working for you first, and
yeah,
that to me is important. So for those out there looking for an agency to join, I feel like make sure you do a little deep dive and a little talk with those who are running the company, because
sure.
what you put first, your core values, are important, and I feel like that has allowed me to be successful here. A team that
Yeah,
cares about you, pushing you to be better, jumping into sales calls, helping you understand what the need is for the client, and just being there right with you every second
yeah.
of the deal.
What are some things that you've learned that you might have done differently? Did you have the same activity prior with what you
Um,
do now? Or do you think you're working the same? Because one of the strengths is your work ethic.
yeah, I
What?
think work ethic has always been um, something that's been easy for me. I'm not shy of working those long
Mm,
hours, especially coming from the field of work that I was in, culinary. There's
mm,
not really a choice, and you're on your feet. But yeah, I was putting in the same amount of work ethic at first. So
mm,
just as we've been here, yeah, I was making 500-600 dials. I think there
mm,
may have been a flaw in the lead system. I don't like to put it on that
mm.
because I really don't know. They don't give you too much information, but um, it was really the training process. You have to understand. I mean, I've never done sales in my life. You know, I mean, I don't. The most sales I do is asking someone, "Hey, like," and you don't have to sell food. People are there. They're coming to get the food. They're going to get it regardless.
Yeah.
It's different when you're cold calling someone who put in
Mhm.
a request X amount of months ago, and now you have to use your skills to
Mhm.
sell them. And so sorry,
What
you're
is,
gonna edit. You're gonna
yeah,
edit this, right?
yeah. What is your
All right.
style? Like, what is like the one skill? You're doing great, dude. This is awesome. What, because like you went from not being able to sell really at all, but to figuring it out, and you had to make the calls. You're doing the same amount of work, but it just wasn't working. What would be the advice that you would give yourself when you're at your old company? Like, hey, dude, if you just do this one thing, you're gonna get better results. It's like the one thing you wish you would have changed that would have helped you get there.
For me, a huge thing is connecting with the client.
Mm.
I,
And how
I
do
was
you do that?
by actually listening to what they're telling you. You know, I
Love
feel
that.
like when with some companies, you know, you're just your mind is just so much make the deal, whatever you got to do. Like, and it can be quick, it can be disruptive to what they're saying. You might cut them off. You know, you're on
Yeah.
a time slot. So for me, like taking my time to connect with the client, listen to them, actively listening to what they're saying, mirroring back what they're saying, allow them to know that you're listening to them. That allows them to connect with you, and that allows them to know that you really do care for them. You're not just another salesman on the block giving them a call and, you know, trying to shove something down their throat, which is something they can't afford. So that being also, listen to what they can afford. Of course, we all want to make high premiums, but you can make a sale by listening what they need and providing what they want. And
What's best for them?
yeah, what's best for them, not what's best for you every time, you know.
Mm.
And so that would be one of them.
Can you talk about the concept of mirroring? Because I feel like that's one of the most important things that makes a lot of our agents successful because you're listening. What does mirroring mean? Can you give like the viewers an understanding of how they can mirror and why it's effective?
Yeah, so I think mirroring in my own words would be you have a client on the phone, they tell you that they're going through X, Y, and Z, and you
Mhm.
acknowledge X, Y, and Z by summing it up back to them. Oh my gosh, Peter, I hear that you lost your mom and
Mhm.
you guys didn't have no insurance put in place, and you're kind of making sure that you want to leave something behind to them so that they don't have to fall in that same predicament when you pass away. You want to leave something for your kids. Is that about right? And
Mm.
so they might have went on a little longer tangent, but you're acknowledging every single point that they went across. Their dad just passed away, no insurance. You acknowledge it. she wants to leave money behind for the kids so that they're not put in the same position when the mom passes away. You acknowledge that, and that allows them to know that you're really listening to them, and that's going to allow just a little bit close knitted connection to them, allow you to push
Mhm.
further into the sales process. Because if you just said, "Oh, great, cool," and just run right
That's
past it,
true.
they're gonna be like, "Man, is this guy even listening? Does he really
Mm.
care about me?" So I think that would be the process of
So
mirroring.
good.
Yeah,
So you feel like the prior company, what just some simple tactic was you were just told to sell, 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 who cares? Which prevented you from listening, prevented you from mirroring, rather than kind of making a transition to being trained is like mirror, listen to them, have the empathy, creates the highest amount of impact in your results there.
for sure. And you know, back to the company that I used to work with, it was more train and recruit, recruit, recruit. And for me, I never, like I said, I'm new to this industry. I didn't know what to look for, and I know that there's a lot of companies out there that hire you just to try to hire more people on, your family, your friends.
What, just curious for myself, what does that recruit conversation look like? So that, let's say if I like, how would it go if I'm looking to join that previous MLM company? What do they tell you? What are some things, red flags that they would do?
Well, they're going to sell you the moon, of
Okay,
course.
like what? Like what is the
Oh
moon?
my gosh, your first month you can make 20, $30,000. You just got to come up here and show out and make sure you make these calls. And you know, the basis for all insurance is, yeah, we have to make the calls, we have to show up, but where's the training? Where's the proper development of your sales team?
Hmm.
If you want to be a successful company, if you want to be a successful agent, especially a new agent starting off, you're going to need a mentor. You're going to need someone that you can go to, someone you can ask questions, someone that you can find some insight, someone who's been through the hard times. And so I've found that here at the company that there are multiple people who are willing to go out of the way that take time out of their day to be like, "Hey, Blaze, you should have done this," or "Hey, I listened to your call. Try this next time." I was not receiving any of that. It was more like, "Hey, so sorry you didn't make that sale. Did you get a friend yet that you can join?" And it's more like, did it wasn't focused on the sales, and
Mhm.
it was more like, you can make more money by hiring people on, and you get percentage of what they sell, versus, hey, how can we help you make more sales so that you can personally make more money developing your personal skills. And to me, that's where after X amount of months I figured out that there was no way that I was going to make this fly unless I
Were you
was
doing that?
willing to hire people on.
Yeah, were you doing that full time, or were you having to do like side hustles to
Oh,
kind of stay alive?
I was doing it full time because, I mean, with
Yeah.
anything in I was in the train of thought that this is my fault, that I'm not putting in the work,
Mm.
that I'm not doing good enough. And so of course,
How did that make you feel going through that?
made me feel like I was a failure,
Mm.
because I've never gone through life doing things lack of half-assedly.
Yeah.
So for me, I've always given something my all. When you give something your all and you fail, it can be very detrimental to your
Sure.
mindset, for sure.
I appreciate you being transparent because I remember when I was in a similar environment, you see like supposedly the dream around you, and you're like, man, I'm doing everything that's I'm supposed to do, but I'm not getting results. And then they kind of like did you feel like brainwashed? Like, dude, it's like it's on you. This is why. Like, it's all you. But deep down, the system hasn't set you up for success, and they make you feel guilty. Did you feel like that's kind of where you were feeling and kind of what you went through? Like, I'm sure you probably had some really dark moments.
Yeah, there was definitely some dark times. I mean, especially when, it's different when you're giving it your all, and you can lay your
Mm-hmm.
head down at night knowing that you're financially safe. But when you're having thousands of dollars of chargebacks, when
Mm-hmm.
you have no money to do X, Y, and Z, you're worried about how you're going to live, and yeah, I mean, all that culmination of things can definitely put you in a dark space. So yeah, I
Yeah.
was in that dark space, and yes, I was made to feel like it was totally my fault that I wasn't doing
Mm-hmm.
enough. But during that hiring process, they will make sure that oh, we'll be there for you. We will help you. We will
Mm-hmm.
train you.
Uh-huh.
Um, but what they don't tell you is sometimes even the unethical side of it. You know,
Yeah. Like
put,
what?
putting people in bad positions.
Mm.
Putting people in positions that, one, they can't afford. Right.
Yeah.
Like, this goes back to making connect with a client. Oh my gosh, like, I understand you only can afford $50 a month, and somehow you manipulate them into a policy that they can't afford. And later on, that hurts you, but in the moment, you're praised for doing it,
Yeah.
right? You're praised for making that sale. Oh my gosh, good job. You made that $7,000 annual life premium sale for that one client, but then 3 months down the road, you're the one taking the charge back for it.
Yeah. And you're
And
taking the hit.
right, and they should have never been in that position ever. So unethical pricing, putting people in policies they can't afford, putting people in policies that medically they can't be in. So I would say that as
Wow.
well. So bait and switch, things like that. I'm just giving you a call about this something free where it's not free at all. And then,
Yeah.
they're left to be like, wait, I thought this was free when you give them the price.
Mm.
Whereas we practice here from the moment we get on the phone, they know what we're calling about.
Mhm.
And the reason that we get them to the end of the sale is by listening to them, by connecting with them, by addressing their problems, and ultimately finding a solution to what they need.
Yeah.
And no moment are we manipulating them or doing the old bait and switch and tricking them to thinking that
Switching them.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is
What
pure
was
skills.
with your script and sales process, what do you think was the hardest part? Was like learning the intro? Was it the objection handling? Was it the medical underwriting? Was it the pitching the products, learning the products? So much to
Uh,
learn to be
mental
great. And yeah.
medical underwriting for sure. I mean, no one wakes up knowing being a doctor. I mean, there's a reason why people go to school for 8 years, learning all these medications and what they do. And so I would say medical underwriting for sure, but script adherence, when you have a well-written script and you have the track record to know that it's successful, I would saying stick to the script if you know it works. And so at first I was thinking that I could come up with my own way to make everyone wants to be different, right? Everyone.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the script and you know it works, really you should stick to it. So for me, the biggest thing was tonality. Um, for the first couple weeks, it probably sounded robotic, and I won't say probably. I know it did. But as of recently, studying more sales calls, listen to the old J minor,
Yeah.
that's kind of helped me realize that there are a lot of different types of tonalities and there's a proper way to use them and there's a time to use them.
Yeah.
So for me, I've been practicing that with the script that we know works, and that has totally transformed the way that I'm able to talk to someone on the phone.
Yeah. Absolutely. Getting comfortable with the script and changing your tonality. Is there any other parts that you feel that were difficult or anything that you think that agents struggle with most that was kind of like an unlock moment for you when it comes like objection handling or um, learning certain parts of the script? What did you do or here's a better question, what did you do to learn the script? Or what did you do to learn the underwriting? Like, how can an agent actually make improvements every single day to get better?
So yeah, for sure, do your this sorry, learn your medications, right? We want the medical background to be quick because, to be honest with you, no one likes going through their medical history, especially when you're an unhealthy individual. You're asking them X, Y, and Z, and you don't know what medication they're on, and it just be uncomfortable. You want to get quick through the medical underwriting. So I would say be proficient, be quick, be fast, know what medications are. Some people will be like, oh my goodness, I'm on this diabetic medication. I can't remember. I'm like, oh, is it the Manjaro, Jardiance, Wegovy, Ozempic, any of those? And they're like, oh my goodness, it's the Wegovy. So it's like
Yeah.
knowing that, not having to have them fight to remember, because there
Hmm.
are clients who are like, I can't remember. I'll give you a call back. And then
Hmm.
right there, it's because you're not proficient enough. You don't know your medical underwriting. They want to call you back at a different time. We can stop that
Yeah.
by being proficient in that. So to the agents who feel weak in underwriting, you definitely got to know that. You want to
Practice
sound like a
that. Yeah.
professional, right? If you go to a doctor's office and they tell you, you're like, doctor, what medication I'm taking? He's like, doesn't know. He's giving you the ums and ohs, and you're probably like, is this guy really a doctor? So on the phone with clients, you make them feel comfortable by knowing exactly what they're on. You say it right away. Oh, you have high blood pressure. You're on the lisinopril, right? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. They feel comfortable going further with you.
Mm.
And for sure, you need to be comfortable with objections. Lately, I've
Yeah.
taken every phone call. This is how I prepare outside of work
Sure.
and I prepare for work, is that every call, when I get someone on the phone, I expect it to be a difficult call.
Mm.
So that when I get to the objections, it's nothing that I'm caught off guard with. Oh my
Love
God, they're
that.
hitting me with a spousal objection. Oh my gosh, I'm getting a banking account objection. I'm already ready for these objections. I
Mm.
know they're going to come. If you prepare yourself that every call is going to be a laydown, it's going to be the easiest call. When you do
Hmm.
get hit with that objection, you're going to be stuck. You're going to have
Yeah.
a moment of pause, and that's not good.
What objection do you think you struggled with at first that you had no idea how to handle?
The spousal objection,
Hmm.
of
Gotcha.
course, because
Well,
when
that's
you're
how you.
Okay.
I tell you, how do you handle that? Like, I need to speak to my spouse. Let's say I need the coverage. How do you go through that? I need to speak to my wife. She makes all the decisions.
Oh, Peter, absolutely. I totally hear you. It's very important that you speak to your wife, and I agree you do. And I mean, Peter, kind of tell me. I mean, theoretically, if your wife was here, I mean, do you think she would be mad at you for getting the coverage?
Oh no, but I just want to make sure she's aware.
Gotcha. Just want to make sure she's aware. She wouldn't be mad. Is kind of what you're saying.
No, I mean, this is for her.
This is for her. And I mean, do you want your wife to? So yeah, you kind of caught me off guard, but yeah,
And then you go to presenting the numbers again and
yeah,
downselling.
yeah,
But
exactly.
acknowledging and mirroring is the process
Yeah, you need to
that we teach.
acknowledge the objection. You need to mirror it back,
Hmm.
and then from there you can make a suggestion. Which is typically like, okay, Peter, well, what I suggest is that what we're going to do is start you with the smaller policy, the 5,000 that you typically wanted to start with. We'll set that payment date out X, Y, down the road. It's going to give you time to talk to your wife, and that way you at least know that you can go to bed knowing that there is going to be coverage put into place. It's also going to give you the time to talk to your wife. Does that sound fair? you
Absolutely.
know
Great.
and typically they want to move on from there.
Yes. Yeah. Love to end with this. In your prior company, you felt like a failure, that you weren't good enough. What are you most proud of yourself for going through
um
this, being one of our top agents at a really competitive sales team? Like, what are you most proud of?
just showing up every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just here every day regardless of what the product of yesterday was. I
Mm,
mean, and this ties in back to what I said earlier. Not This is not a game for the weak mentally. I mean, there are
yeah.
going to be some days where it's just human nature to beat yourself up, to have your subconscious kind of bleeding into your daily. And sometimes when you have a bad day, you do everything that's possible. You do everything that you're taught, you're trained on. You've handled every objection, but it's just still no, no, no.
Hmm.
That can really hurt you, um, if you allow it to, and go and bleed onto the rest of your week. So for me, I'm proud of not allowing one bad day to trip me up for the rest of the week, or even worse, the rest of the month. I
Yeah.
just wake up the next day and I'm like, this is a brand new day. I'm starting at 0 deals. I don't try to look at the week. Today is 0 deals. How many deals can I bring in today?
Hmm.
And I'm always striving for at least three or four deals.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. You're a rock star. We appreciate you, all the growth that you've had, and even all the impact you've made in such a short time. You've had some great reviews, but yeah, man. Is there any final thoughts that you want to share with the audience, or any words of encouragement that you think
Yeah.
agents would need?
To those agents out there that are, giving it your all, trying everything, and you're just not seeing success, don't always look in the mirror and blame yourself. Okay, there's sometimes there are others who should be there for you. If you're a brand new
Yeah.
agent starting an agency and you're failing and no one's coming to ask you, hey, how can we work on this or X, Y, and Z, there might be an issue with your upline. You might need to look for another agency. Do not give up on yourself on the first try. I know I was never going to get back into life insurance after my first agency. I was almost one and done with it because I felt like, oh
Mm.
my God, this is just not for me. This can't be. And it was not with talking with the people, but financially we need money to live. So I'll say that I wasn't being able to live. But after watching Peter's videos for a month or two, I decided to give it one more go, and it is just an eye-opening experience. What is possible when you have a team of people who are just fighting for your success every inch. In the beginning when I was new, I had messages from management, listening into calls, say this, do this, and that compounds over time and allows you to be an agent that is proficient without the help of others. And
Hmm.
when you become so proficient, then you have time to help others. And so for me, I, I'm getting, I like to do that now. Like I love giving the
Absolutely.
insight that I was given when I was so young. So to those out there who are struggling, just keep going, man. You,
Keep
you can do
pushing.
it. You just got to keep pushing. Like I said, this is a
Absolutely.
mental game. Yeah.
Sure is. Well, thanks so much, Blaze. I appreciate you